Hey there, my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Digitally Overwhelmed podcast. I wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about Substack because I know a lot of you are starting to use Substack, and it's this platform that we can use to create content. So, if you haven't heard of Substack is just basically a alternative platform we can use to send emails and newsletters to our audience. You can build a pretty standard website with Substack as well. And a lot of creators have been using it to write their content. So it can be a way to write and get published, and then you can actually build a subscription on there. So it's kind of similar to Patreon or Medium. And at the end of the day, it's a platform that helps you monetize your content, right? Which we want to be doing, especially if you love to write and you love to create content. We need to find ways to monetize it, aka why I have a podcast. So I wanted to hop on here to talk about how to grow your Substack. So maybe you already have a Substack and you're kind of figuring out how to feed that, I guess, feed that platform to grow your audience, and then how that can actually help you grow your business. So it really doesn't matter what type of business you have, Substack will work for you, because if you're a service-based business, you can write on there and also promote your services. If you're product-based, I mean, you can't directly sell products from Substack, so that might be a limitation, but you can build your Substack and then share your products. Like if you have a physical product or something, you can also share on there. I think a lot of people have been gravitating to Substack because it does have a little bit of like a social media feel of that feed. And that's great. So if Substack is inspiring you, definitely go for it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some ways to grow your Substack. So the first way, which is pretty cool, is Substack already has its own audience that it recommends to within the platform. So Substack will recommend your content to different audience members. It thinks it's helpful, and so I recommend using all the internal categories in Substack and making it really clear to Substack what your content is about, what your business is about. Just fill out as much as you can in the settings so Substack can know what kind of audience you want to be attracting, right? And that's actually the beauty of Substack if we compare it to another newsletter platform, is that it already has an existing audience, which again makes it kind of like almost like a social media platform of like the existing audience is there and then Substack is feeding into it, right? Which is kind of interesting. The second way you can think about growing your audience on Substack is actually collaborating with other um, another Substack account, or any other business, to be honest, and doing a partnership. So this could be a joint post you write together. It could be more of like a guest swap. So you write one for their audience, they write one for your audience, and you swap it. You could also do like a little event, something where you, again, both present together and share audiences. And I think that this is really powerful because if you're showing up in someone else's audience where there's already that trust and that likability factor, then it's really great for some of that audience to come back to you, right? And it can feel really natural. It can feel really um just like easy, right? And this is one of the ways I've been able to grow my audience quite a bit, is by doing guest appearances, swaps, podcast episodes, summits, that sort of thing. So if you've never done this before, how can you start? How can you start, right? You might be like, where do I start? So what I recommend is, again, going back to the audience you want to attract and then thinking about what other kinds of accounts would they follow, right? So you want to do a little bit of brainstorming. You can use AI to help you as well to brainstorm of like, what is my audience reading apart from my Substack? and what other accounts do I want to, be thinking about and collaborating with. So in my case, it might be other service providers who also, help people with their online presence, but they're not direct competition. Or, I mean, I've also done partnerships with other SEO experts and it's gone great. So you could do it that way too. So just brainstorm that and then start looking for those accounts. And then you can just pitch them and don't be afraid to reach out to people directly and just asking for partnerships. I think that I think sometimes we wait for these things to happen. We need to make them happen. And you can just be direct and be honest with people and say, "Hey, I'm looking for some genuine partnerships." Maybe it's already someone you already know in your network and you've never thought about partnering with them. And again, it could just feel really like an extension. It might feel a little awkward in the ask, but if you're just honest about your intention, at the end of the day, the other business is it's a win-win, right? So the other business is gonna get access to your audience as well. And if you're starting from scratch, we all start from scratch, so don't be ashamed. It's totally fine. Again, is there something you could offer in return if you don't have an audience? Could you offer a little snippet of your service? Could you offer like a free discovery call or something where you provide value? Again, be honest. When I was starting my podcast, I always pitched businesses that were like a little bit ahead of me, and I looked for partnerships that just felt really good. And over time, you just start to grow, right? So, again, just find that sweet spot of like a little bit scary, but you're on the right track, right? And then the last way that I wanted to suggest growing is surprise through SEO. So Substack does have SEO options within the platform where you can put SEO values. And so there again, you need to do a little bit of research and research what is the audience, what is your audience searching? What are they looking for? And maybe not all your Substack articles need to be SEO friendly. I know a lot of people get stuck with this and they get really kind of strict of like everything needs to be SEO, and I really don't believe that that needs to be the intention, because sometimes we actually end up attracting people through content that doesn't have an SEO backed up research. So one way you could do it is you could just have a goal of like 50-50 or 70-30, like 70% of my content is going to be SEO aligned and the other 30% is just going to be whatever I feel like talking about that day. And that's something I've done in my own podcast of I have very SEO strong content, but I also kind of let myself go on a crazy rabbit hole and record. I've recorded all sorts of episodes about all sorts of things that haven't always been like behind an SEO keyword. And I think that's why we start our businesses. So with the SEO side, basically what you want to be doing is researching what people are searching and then answering those questions, answering those queries. That's what I did for today's episode. I was originally going to actually record an episode about SEO in Substack specifically, but then I realized people aren't really searching that. They're searching how do they grow their Substack. And so SEO is one element of that. So once you identify what people are searching, you can look at ways to organically and naturally add those keywords in your Substack. So you can add it in the Substack title, in the maybe the body, just provide value at the end of the day. And that is a way for you to actually get found in Google and AI tools, but through your Substack. So Substack, it's this thing, it's a newsletter, but you can actually publish it live like a website, which again, other newsletter platforms do that too. So like Kit, for example, that has that option. You can like publish it and it goes live. And maybe I'll do another episode that's like comparing and contrasting Substack to other platforms. But that is a way for you literally to get like found in Google, but through your Substack. And that's a great way to grow your audience in Substack because they find you in Substack. Maybe they like what they're reading and then they subscribe, and there you have another subscriber in your Substack. So, again, to recap, Substack itself is like its own audience, and it can kind of attract people within its ecosystem that it's created. The number two is collaborations and partnerships. I think you should be doing that anyway in your business, but it's just a great way to grow and have a win-win with another partner business that then knows you. And then the third is SEO and AIO. Again, targeting words that people are using and creating useful content can grow how people find you in Google. And if you are wanting to learn more specifically about how to do SEO in Substack, I will be actually recording a Substack specific lesson inside my homegrown traffic SEO course. And I'm going to be showing you behind the scenes exactly how to empower your Substack with SEO information. And there's a lot of little sneaky ways you can add keywords again in organic because keyword stuffing doesn't work. And remember that this can work for both SEO and getting found in AI. And this is just a way for you to continue to get found online. So if you want to get more information about the SEO course, you can go to bit.ly/SEO course 26. And there you'll have the option to either just do the SEO course or bundle it with the AIO course. Both these courses are available. All right, my friends, kind of short episode, short and sweet. And I hope you found that helpful. And let me know what questions you have about SEO and Substack. I know it's just become more popular. I think a lot of people, my theory is that people are kind of getting a little burnt out of some social media. They're just like very overstimulating, and I get it. And so something like Substack, it's a little bit calmer. And so that's like a way to get away from some of the craziness of the other platforms. Just a theory. Curious what you think about that. I hang out on Instagram, Digital Bloom IQ, and I've sort of been starting to hang out on LinkedIn too. So if you want to send me a message in either of those places, we can chat about it, and curious to know what you think. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.